Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Become a Better Man. Become a Better Man, which is coming really, really late compared to when it should be. We should have started at 8 o'clock, and I'm conscious this is almost 20 minutes to 9. My sincere apologies to that. I had a parental duty. I had to take my older daughter to her prom, and I got lost on my way back. I'm so sorry about that. So if you are out there, please let me know that you are with me tonight. Tonight is going to be a great night. Olasukomi Ade Tayo, thank you so much for joining all the way from New York. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. It's going to be a great night because what we'll be talking about tonight is something that we all want to do, something we've all talked about, something we've all prayed about, something that is close to most of our hearts, and yet not a lot of us are doing it. And it is something that, when the truth be told, is something that has the potential to change everything and anything about us. So, what are we talking about tonight? You may be asking. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on Become a Better Man, we are talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking tonight on the topic of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Like I said at the beginning, we all want to be part of it. We all want to do something about it. We all would like to do something about it. To be an entrepreneur is the desire of a lot of us. But yet, so many of us are not doing it. So many of us, we've dabbled into it and quickly run back to our comfort zone of earning salaries. There's nothing wrong with earning salaries, but the issue is salaries will not make you rich. Salary will not make you wealthy. Salary will just give you enough to come back tomorrow, and then one day you will wake up and realize that your whole life has been spent making somebody else's dream, vision, desire fulfilled, while in actual fact you have not really tapped into what you are supposed to do, what you are called to do, what is the passion of your heart, what is that thing that keeps tugging on your heart, and you know this is exactly what you want to do, what you want to pour your life into, what you want to spend your life working on and doing and making real, bringing it to life to the point where one day you can hand it over to your generation, to your children and your children's children. Because the truth is, most of the organizations that we're working in and working for today were started by somebody. And then it got passed down from one generation to another, from one father to the son to another son. And eventually, some of them will get to a point where they'll be listed on the stock exchange, they become a public, limited companies and all of that. But the root is always with somebody. Somebody somewhere started that business. I remember some years ago, I read about the story of the Marriott Hotel. There's a book called The Spirit to Serve, which is the story of how the Marriott Hotel started and how the ethos, the philosophy, the doctrine, the practice that has kept that hotel to grow from strength to strength. But all along you can trace how it has been passed down from one father to another, to another, to another. So the spirit of entrepreneurship is something that we all can relate to. It's something that we all like, we want to be, we want to do. And yet, some of us, most of us really, don't get to do it. So the program tonight is for us to look at this phenomenon, this idea, this concept of entrepreneurship, and to see what does it mean. How do you begin to define it? How do you know if you are actually cut out to be an entrepreneur? And having established that, then how do you go about it? What are some of the challenges that you are going to face? What are some of the benefits that will accrue to you? What is required for one to become successful in this school of entrepreneurship? So these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at tonight. And I'm just going to go through as quickly as possible because of time, so that we can finish on time. So by definition, what is entrepreneurship? When you hear the word entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, what does it mean? Well, entrepreneurship is the willingness, and that is the key word there, the willingness and the capacity to develop, to organize, and to manage a business venture along with any of its risks in order to make a profit, like starting a new business or a new program, or a new invention, a new service, whatever it is that you start with the willingness and the capacity to develop it, to organize it, to manage it, to bring it to fullness, to the point where it will yield profits associated with all the risks and all the challenges that comes with it, and yet you still have the guts and the stamina to weather the storm and run with it, because that's your vision, that's your passion, that is what you believe in your heart you are supposed to do. That is the definition of entrepreneurship, or the definition of somebody who is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur spirit is characterized by innovation. Entrepreneur spirit is characterized by innovation and risk-taking. Again, there could be no profit if you have not taken a calculated risk in the first place. And we'll go into that as we start to look at what are some of the traits that you need to watch out for, to look out for in yourself, in other people, for you to establish whether this person is cut out to be an entrepreneur or not. So entrepreneurial spirit is characterized by innovation and risk-taking, and it's an essential part of a nation's ability to succeed, especially in this day and age that we're in, where every nation around the world, most nations around the world, are going through one form of recession or another. And what has helped a lot of countries, a lot of nations to stand against all these challenges, to be able to weather the storm of recession, of economic downturn, is the strength of the entrepreneurial spirit amongst its citizens. For as long as people are willing, are committed to go out there and do what it takes for them to succeed, they are invariably empowering the nation to come out of the downtime and be victorious. Joyce Elojo, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing as well. So, entrepreneurial spirit is characterized by innovation and risk-taking. But the flip side of all that is, it becomes a pillar, it becomes the backbone for anti-recession, as it were, for any nation. So that goes to show that if it works that way for a nation, imagine the impact and the effect that it could have on you as a person, as an individual, as a family, as a community. So the spirit of entrepreneurship is something that is very, very vital for the development of not just yourself, but the whole nation. Olabisi Nancy, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. So when you hear about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, what are some of the words that readily jumps out at you? What are some of the what comes up in your mind when you hear that this person is an entrepreneur, this person is an entrepreneur? What are some of the words that comes out that immediately jumps at you? Because these are some of the words that will help us identify whether you and I have the same spirit or not. For instance, you hear the word passionate, you hear the word dedicated, optimistic, risk taker. Hey, Kenny Disu, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you, sir. These are some of the words that you begin to hear as far as entrepreneurs are concerned. These are some of the ways people describe them. Otilo, Yemi, thank you, all of you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Yemi Adetayo and Tunde Otilo, for joining me. I appreciate all of you. The truth is this, ladies and gentlemen, being an entrepreneur is a lifestyle. It is not a job. It's not a hobby. It's not something you start today and then tomorrow you are not doing it. It's not something that is here today, gone tomorrow. It is a lifestyle. So you may not have some or all of the traits that we're going to be talking about tonight for you to determine whether you have the spirit of entrepreneur in you or not. But don't let that discourage you, because what you don't have now, you can and you will develop into it for as long as you keep at it. And that is why I said it's a lifetime situation. It's a lifetime journey. It's not a hobby. It's not a job that you can just decide you don't want to do again tomorrow. Anesi Chukwumerije, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, ma'am. So, how would you know? How would you know? What are some of the signs? What are some of the traits? What are some of the characteristics that you need to look out for, or that you will see in yourself, in your children, in your friends, in your spouse, in people around you, for you to be able to at least have an inclination that this person could be an entrepreneur, or this person has entrepreneurship spirit inherent in him or her. And in most cases, such people may not know. So it is now for you to come along and help that person to tap into that spirit. So let's quickly go through some of the traits that you will see, that you will notice, that you may even not know that you have. But as we go through them tonight, you begin to see, wow, I didn't realize that. So that's what that is. And I hope you will be blessed as we go through some of this tonight. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I appreciate you. So, what are some of the traits? What are some of the characteristics that identifies an entrepreneur? Number one, you are an action person. If you're an action person, you are a get up and go person. You are somebody that you're ready to take action. What do I mean by that? A lot of people talk about it, pray about it, prophesy about it, sing and dance about it. But that's all they do. They never go beyond talking about it. But for an entrepreneur or somebody with the spirit of entrepreneurship, what they do is they think about it, it resonates in their heart, they have the peace about it, and the next thing they take action. An entrepreneur is somebody that takes action, somebody that will not waste time, but will go after their God's feeling, their belief that this is what I am supposed to be doing. And what tends to happen is as they go along, they invent, they discover, they add value, they expand, they appreciate in the development of that initial spirit. But the first thing they do is they take action. An entrepreneur is somebody that takes action. A lot of people will talk about it. In fact, people with life experience, they have the tendency to do than those who have, for instance, been to school to get a degree in that field. Most of the time, they overanalyze what they know they're supposed to do. Now they want to cross the T's and dot the I's. I'm not saying you jump out at a whim and wreck yourself and your family. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, don't let your analysis turn to paralysis, where now you have overanalyzed the situation to the point that you can't do anything. You are now stuck with all your analysis and all your reasons and all your theories and all your hypotheses. Why and why and why and why. And before you know it, you are not doing anything. So the first trait of an entrepreneur is that they are a go-getter. Action, action, action. They think about it, they have peace about it, they go for it. They don't overanalyze. They know that they will learn. Whatever they don't have now, they will learn as they go along. So an entrepreneur is somebody that has an action spirit. Number 2 trait of an entrepreneur is that they are usually very crafty. Entrepreneurs are usually very crafty. What do I mean by that? An entrepreneur may not have everything that they need to start that business, to grow that business, to expand that business, to multiply that business. They may not have everything they need. But this is what they do. Entrepreneurship is not about having enough resources. Rather, entrepreneurship is about being resourceful with what you have. I'll say that again. Entrepreneurship is not about having all the necessary resources, all the money, all the experience, all the ability, all the staff, all the promotion, all the advert. No. But what an entrepreneur has is the ability to be resourceful, to manage whatever they have to accomplish the goal. So if you find yourself being very resourceful, that is a trait of an entrepreneur. And I am not ashamed to say that women are better at this than men. Women are better at being resourceful with the little they have to make it turn out to become big. Ladies, I doff my hat for you. Well done. The third trait of an entrepreneur is that in most cases, they get into trouble. An entrepreneur will easily get into hot water, into bothers, into challenges, especially with leadership, authority, people around them, and all of that. Why is that? Somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, they are more likely to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. They think about it, they talk about it, they see it, and they go and do it. And then they turn around and say, oh, I'm sorry, I should have asked for your permission first. Because the tendency of an entrepreneur is to take action. So they will rather apologize than to take permission. They go for it. They forge ahead to address opportunities and issues that they recognize, they confront, that comes across their way. They will forge ahead and deal with it. And then if you turn around and say, no, you shouldn't have done that, they would rather apologize and ask for your forgiveness than to ask for your permission, because in most cases, by the time they ask you for permission, a lot of time, that is where the momentum will wane while they're waiting for their permission to be granted. So they would rather go ahead, forge ahead, take action, and then turn around and ask you for forgiveness. That is another trait of somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit. Thank you, Uncle Joe Awolowo, for joining me tonight. I appreciate you, sir. Good evening, sir. Number 4, an entrepreneur or somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit are fearless. They are fearless. What do I mean by that? While a lot of people see and avoid risks, An entrepreneur sees and embrace potentials. While a lot of people will see this as, oh, this is very risky, and they will walk away from it, somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit will see opportunity and run towards it and embrace it. They are not afraid to leverage whatever they have to create a new venture. Why? Because they are ultimately optimistic, because they believe that whatever investment, whether it is investment in terms of time, money, resources, effort, energy, connection, they believe that their investment will turn out to bring profit on the long run. And that is why they are fearless. That is why they are fearless. So if you notice in yourself some of these traits that we're talking about tonight, you need to revisit them to see, maybe, just maybe, you are for the first time tapping into the knowledge of the fact that you are actually an entrepreneur. You haven't realized it. So number 5, an entrepreneur is somebody who hardly can stand still. They must be busy doing something. They are always restless when there is nothing to be done. When they like some people, I remember growing up. God bless my mom. If I've never seen an entrepreneur before, I've seen my mother. My mother is somebody that cannot stay for a day, 2 days, and not doing anything. Oh, no. There must be an operation going on. There must be some activities. And I don't mean just throwing herself about. No, something productive, something that will yield results, some form of investment. And that, for me, is a demonstration of the spirit of entrepreneurship. They cannot stand still. They must have something doing, because there is so much energy in them that they have to expend it somewhere, somehow. They are eager, they are excited, they are energized about business in a way that a lot of people just dream and wish for or wish about. But an entrepreneur, they are fearless and they go for it. Number 6, an entrepreneur spirit makes somebody pliable. Somebody who is pliable has a trait of an entrepreneur. What do I mean by that? Entrepreneurs, they are constantly evolving. They are constantly changing. They are constantly tweaking. They are constantly adjusting. They are constantly making good what they have. Where an ordinary person without the entrepreneur spirit will think, wow, that is wonderful, that is excellent. To an entrepreneur, he or she will look at it and think, oh yeah, maybe if you just tweak it a little bit here, maybe if you change it a little bit here. They are constantly evolving. They are constantly moving. They are constantly on the move with their vision, with their mission, with their passion, with activities around them. An entrepreneur is somebody that is pliable, that is constantly adjusting and making better their business concept, most especially to respond to changes in the marketplace or the feedbacks that they're getting from their clients and their customers. So number 7 trait of an entrepreneur is that an entrepreneur, they are what I call, they enjoy navel gazing. What does that mean? What is the meaning of that? It simply means that because as an entrepreneur, the buck stops with you. You are the boss now. You are the everything. You are the final. And somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, because they know there's no direct supervision over them, they have the tendency and they are very comfortable with the process of stopping every now and again to evaluate their performances. They are very good at at examining themselves to say, how am I doing here? Even when people around them are clapping and hailing them, they have a way of stepping back to say, okay, let's re-examine this. How am I doing in this area? How much am I putting in this area? And is it going towards the right direction? Is it adding value to the business? Is it bringing more clients? So somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, they are always very good at self-examination and self-checks. And they do that comfortably. They do it comfortably. Number 8. The number 8 trait of an entrepreneur is that they are motivated by challenges. An entrepreneur or somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit is motivated by challenges. They are motivated by challenges. When confronted with problems, entrepreneurs, they rise to the occasion. When confronted with problems, entrepreneurs rise to the occasion. For instance, if you're an employee in an organization and there are challenges, you either wash your hands off it or pass the buck to the next person or escalate it to the boss. But with an entrepreneur, when there are challenges, they roll up their sleeves, they pull up the chair, they sit down and face it squarely. Challenges motivate entrepreneurs. So check yourself. If you feel that is a description of your person, of your character, of the way you will respond to challenges, then that is another qualification, or that is another sign that you could be an entrepreneur. The number 9 trait is that entrepreneurs are always, in most cases, they are never accepted. They are never accepted. So they always consider themselves as an outsider. Because the spirit of entrepreneurship does not allow them to be put in a box, to be caged, to be boxed up and labeled and shelved. They are too restless to do that. So they are comfortable in their own company. And in most cases, you see them, they stand aloof, they are almost a loner. Not because they want to be that, but because the traits in them, the characteristics of who they are on the inside, is not to conform. Really, that's what it is. They don't conform to the norm. In fact, they challenge the status quo. They question why it is so. Why can it be better? Why must we rest on that? Why and why and why and why and why? These are some of the traits of somebody who is an entrepreneur. Number 10. In life, just like in sports, you rise and you fall. You rise and you fall. You rise and you fall. But one of the traits of somebody who is an entrepreneur is that they have a high rate of quick recovery. An entrepreneur has a high rate of quick recovery. They fall down and they get up. They fall down and they get up. They fall down and they get up. And that is why you hear some very successful businessmen and women would say, oh, they've been bankrupt 3 or 4 times. And yet, they have not allowed that to keep them down. They have not allowed that to tie them down. They rose from the ashes of that fall, and now they have become what we are all seeing today. The trick is in the speed of their recovery. They recover very well and very quickly. Number 11. Many people recognize marketplace holes. They recognize, oh, there is an opportunity there. You could actually tap into that hole in the market, and that is where they leave it. But for an entrepreneur, when they see that hole, they take it from the cocktail napkin that they scribble it onto and bring it into reality. They don't just see it and talk about it. They do something about it. So when they see a need, they fulfill it. When they see a hole, they plug it. When they see a challenge, they face it. These are some of the traits of an entrepreneur. Another trait of an entrepreneur is that most of them are unemployable. They are unemployable. Not because they don't want to work, just because what is on the inside of them is too big to be put in a box and labeled with a title to say that's what you are and that's who you are and that's where you will be. And in most cases, because of the ongoing turmoil on the inside of an entrepreneur, they will start bothering even the boss to say, why is that so? Why can't it be this? Why are we doing it this way? Why can't we do? And in most cases, such people never stay long in an employment situation. They are easily kicked out and let go by their employers. An entrepreneurship spirit is somebody that demonstrates the definition that there is more, that demonstrates the belief rather that there is more than one definition of job security. They demonstrate a belief that there is more than one definition of job security. They don't believe that earning a salary month in, month out is the only means of job security, because they realize that the job is not safe. Why is that? Because you don't have the full and final say or control over it. One mistake at the wrong time with the wrong person could end the story of your employment. And that is why entrepreneurs, they believe there is more than one definition to job security. And finally, another trait of an entrepreneur is look at your lineage, look at your family, look at your parents, look at the people around you. In most cases, not in all, but in most cases, entrepreneurs come from a family where either both parents or one of the parents has never worked for somebody. They've always done their own thing. They've always started their own business. They've always run and managed their own business. And such trait will rub off on the children as they grow up under that umbrella. The question tonight is this. From all these traits and characteristics that I have mentioned, can you find yourself in it? Have you located yourself in any of these? Maybe in two, maybe in three, maybe in one of these traits that I've covered tonight. Have you found yourself in any of them? Please, I need to hear from you. Let me know. Have you found yourself? Have you identified any of these traits with yourself that is actually real in your life? Because that could be the beginning of your discovery of the entrepreneurship spirit that has been lying dormant on the inside of you. Please, let me hear from you. If any of these traits has described you, or you feel you demonstrate some of them, please let me hear from you as we move to the next stage of tonight's program. In this segment, we're looking at 5 sacrifices that every entrepreneur that wants to be successful must make. There are these 5 sacrifices, there are these 5 things that you must do in order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur. Hey, Adejobi, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Every entrepreneur starts with a big dream. They start with a great excitement. They start with a great hoo-ha. I am ready to take on the world. As an entrepreneur, the reason they do that is because they know they are in control of their destiny. They know they are in control of their destiny. And with the right ideas, the right skill set, and unflinching dedication, they know they can build something or establish an enterprise that will serve as their legacy, as their own contribution to this earth. And that is why they are happy, they are excited, they want to punch the air, they want to scream and shout. But this that I've just described is the bright side of entrepreneurship. That is the gooey, the smiley part of entrepreneurship. The flip side to that is what we're going to look at. And this flip side is where these 5 sacrifices that every entrepreneur must make or must commit to in order to be successful. What are some of these? What are these sacrifices? The first thing that an entrepreneur who wants to be successful must be prepared, must be willing, and must be committed to sacrifice is stability. Stability. You're starting a new venture as an entrepreneur. There is no guarantee that you are going to succeed. In fact, you've been going as an entrepreneur now for about 3 months or 6 months. The foundation of the whole thing is still shaking, it's still wobbly, it's still like, where is it not, and all of that. Even if the ideas and the business plan and the consultation with your bank, your financial advisor, and all of, if they have all said this is rock solid, in your heart you know there's still some shaking going on. There is no telling to which direction this business is going to face or where this is going to. And because of that, if you have not, in fact, if at that time you have not sacrificed your well-paying monthly job, there are the possibilities that you will do at some point. And the moment you cross that Rubicon, the moment you cross that line, what you have come to know as stability of regular income is gone. But the question is, in order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur, are you willing to make that sacrifice? Entrepreneurship is by all means an unstable path to follow. So don't be surprised if you are an entrepreneur and you're launching out. Don't be surprised when you encounter multiple unpredictable shifts in your fortune, because the work that you're doing will require that. It is the natural part of the process. But if you stick with it, if you refuse to let it go, if you put your heart and soul into it, eventually your hard work with a clear vision will establish the initial stability that you sacrifice. If you refuse to give up, if you refuse to cave in, if you refuse to be discouraged, if you refuse to be distracted, if you refuse to let go of your commitment and dedication to what you believe is what you should be doing, if you put your back to it, your heart, soul, and spirit into it, eventually that temporary stability that you sacrifice is what you will gain. If you don't believe me, ask the owner of Marriott Hotel today whether they are stable or not. But there was a time when everything was shaking. Everything seemed, well, what are we sure about this? What do you think we're doing? And all of that. But today, they have regained a greater stability. But in order to do that, the initial stability that you think you have or that you believe you have to put it on the altar of sacrifice. So the first thing that an entrepreneur who wants to be successful must be willing, committed, and ready to sacrifice is what you call stability. That regular pay. That knowing where you are going to in the morning, where you leave the house. You know exactly what you are going to do. You know exactly who you are going to talk to. You know exactly what time you are going to go on lunch break. Who are you going to sit next to at your dinner, at your lunch table, and all of that. All of that stability will be sacrificed on the altar of entrepreneurship. The second thing that you will have to sacrifice for you to be a successful entrepreneur is what we now term work-life balance. Work-life balance. A lot of people who are into a 9-to-5 job, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong in 9-to-5 job. If that's your call, that's your passion, God bless you. But a lot of people who are within the operation of a regular job, they have what they call work-life balance. This is my work life, and this is my non-work life. And the balance must be drawn. And it's important to do that. Balance is the key to everything in life. But when you become an entrepreneur, the line between your work life and your personal life will just disappear. Or at worst, it will become very blurred. The line between your personal life and your working life will become blurred. It will just melt away. It will just disappear because you're an entrepreneur. Why is that? As an entrepreneur, you are never out of work. You're always working. Even when you are not in the office, you are still thinking about the work. Even when you are not in the office, you get calls, you receive emails, you receive inquiries. You can't say to them, oh, sorry, I'm not in the office now, so I can't attend to that. No. Every time there's a phone call, every time there's an email, every time there's a request, every time there's a query regarding your business, you're responding. Whether it is while you're having your tea, your lunch, your dinner, or you're just, whatever you're doing, you still have to respond to these things. Your downtime, what we call downtime in a regular job, your downtime when you're an entrepreneur will become very light, if at all you have one. Why is that? Your downtime is your business time. Like I said, as an entrepreneur, there is no time of resumption or time of closing. In fact, as an entrepreneur, you work longer, you work harder, you work more tediously than the person that has a 9-to-5 job. Because your time in the office will feel like your personal time because you are doing what you like, what you love, and what you enjoy. And sometimes, in all of this, it is still very good to pull back. Remember, we said one of the characteristics or one of the traits of an entrepreneur is that they have the tendency to self-examine, to pull back and reassess the situation. Therefore, every now and again as an entrepreneur, even in the midst of all of that, you are still required to hold back, especially where your family is concerned, especially where your health is concerned. You have to find a way where you hold back from all the demands and the pressure of work to spend quality time with your family and to look after your health. It's important. The third thing you need to sacrifice as an entrepreneur is your income. Your income. In most entrepreneur ventures, you don't even start to draw salary from that business until it is way, way down the line. In fact, you have to commit everything that you have, plus everything your parents have in some cases, plus everything your wife has or your husband, and bunch everything together into the business. And usually, you don't have the ability to start drawing salary from that business or from that venture until it is way, way down the line. Now it's breaking even. Now it's making some profit. That's when you, as an entrepreneur, will start to draw salary. So, the next thing that you must be willing to sacrifice is your income. Your income. And that is why, as an entrepreneur, one of the things you need is a strong marketing plan. Because the quicker you can push the product out and get more sales and make more profit, the quicker you too can begin to enjoy some sort of income from the business. The number four item that you will need to sacrifice to be successful as an entrepreneur is your sleep. Your sleep. Your sleep is the next thing that you will need to sacrifice. For some of us, we love our bed. It must be 6, 7, maybe 8 hours of good, solid sleep for us to feel, yes, I've had my share of my sleep. There's nothing wrong in that. In fact, it's recommended that you have a good sleep. But when you are a new entrepreneur, when you're a young entrepreneur, when you are starting out afresh, one of the things that first goes out of the window is your 7, 8 hours sleep. Now, is that because you don't want to sleep? No. You want to sleep, but you just can't sleep. In some cases, you'll be doing an all-night vigil. Maybe you are preparing a proposal to take to the bank to raise some funds, or some investors are looking into investing in the organization and they want to know where you are in terms of your documents, your accounts, your this, your that. You could spend a whole night preparing for such meeting or for such opportunity that whatever is called sleep don't even register in your head at all. And in some cases, you have to wake up very early. You have an early morning meeting with your bank manager, with your insurance, with your financial advisor, with your lawyer. You have to wake up very early. Now, if you are the person that used to do 8 hours sleep, after 4 hours, you need to get up and get ready so that you are not late to that meeting. And in some cases, you just can't sleep. Sleep just will not come. Even though you want to sleep, even though you need to sleep, even though you would like to sleep, sleep just won't come. Because your mind is racing away, thinking about the business, thinking about what's the next strategy, what's the next agenda, how can we improve on this, how can we recruit that person, how can we meet that obligation. And because of that, it could keep you awake all night. The fifth thing that you have to sacrifice to be a successful entrepreneur is your comfort. Your comfort. You know why? Now you are the boss. You are the boss. You are the oga at the top. The buck stops at your table. It stops at your table. Any particular day in the course of this operation, you'll have to wear many hats. You have to be the front man, the front door man. You have to be the janitor. You have to be the cleaner. You have to be the insurance. You have to be the manager. And you are constantly wearing different hats throughout the day. Where is the comfort in that? You are making decisions that you are not used to making. whether to hire this person or to fire that person, whether to invest in this organization or to buy from their competitor, whether to lease this property or to stay where you are. Some decisions are now confronting you that you're not used to. And suddenly, your comfortable seat is no longer comfortable. It has now become hot seat. But part of being an entrepreneur is that every now and again, if not in most cases, you will have to step out of your comfort zone. You will have to come out of somewhere where you are used to, something that you are used to, something you are accustomed to. As an entrepreneur, you have to come out and face the reality of the organization that you are leading. The most successful entrepreneurs are the ones who approach uncomfortable situations with confidence and a degree of excitement. The most successful entrepreneurs are those who approach uncomfortable situations with confidence and a greater degree of excitement. Now listen to this. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. I will say that again. Being an entrepreneur is living a few years of your life like most people will never do. But you do that so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't afford to do. And if you look at it from that perspective, if you imagine it from that perspective, you'll agree with me that entrepreneurship is a good thing. The initial stage might be rough, it might be tough, it might be tedious. But like the Bible says, though your beginning be small, your latter end shall greatly increase. So we've looked at what's an entrepreneur, or who is an entrepreneur. We looked at what's the spirit of entrepreneurship. We've looked at what are some of the traits that you would see, that you will notice, that you will recognize for you to know whether you have the entrepreneurship spirit or not. Now we've just looked at some of the 5 things that you will have to sacrifice in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur. The final part of tonight's program, we're going to quickly look at how to overcome some type of fear that is holding people back from launching out as an entrepreneur. A lot of us want to do it. In fact, most of us would like to be our own boss, do our own thing, lead our own life, have our own destiny in our hands. But most people don't do it. And the number one reason a lot of people don't do it, don't become it, is fear. Fear. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What would you do today if there is no chance of you failing? If you have 100% guaranteed of success, what would you do today that you are not doing now? Because whatever it is, the only thing that's holding you back is the fear of failure. What if it didn't work? Well, what if it worked? What if it worked? Some people will make excuses. Some people will make excuses. Oh, I'm too old. Look at my age. You want me to start at this age? When will I live to enjoy the reward of it? Let me give you an instance. Colonel Sanders, the man that started Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, as we know it. Do you know he didn't start until he was 65 years old? And look at KFC today. It's everywhere. But the man did not start until he was 65 years old. Another man called Takeshiro Mori, who built a real estate empire worth $13 billion. This man built a real estate business or empire that was worth $13 billion. But you know that he made his first investment in property at the age of 55. So age is not a barrier. Age is not a barrier. There are plenty of fears and excuses that holds us back from getting what we want as an entrepreneur. There are so many excuses that we use, but this is what you must remember. Both success and failure is a choice. Success is a choice. Failure is also a choice. Whatever you choose, that's what you will get. There will always be this ding in your ear, in your head to say, don't do it, don't do it. Did you not see this? Did you not hear that? Did you not read that? Did you not? And all of that will be going up in your head, trying to stop you from stepping out to be what you know you are supposed to be. The question is, are you going to listen to them, or are you going to shut them up? Like the Bible talks about taking captive of every thought and every imagination. You need to take captive of those negative thoughts, of those thoughts and those whispering of fear that is trying to hold you back. You need to take hold of them and take them captive so that you can become all that God expected you to be. So quickly, what are some of the fears that's holding people back? The number one fear is the fear of not believing in yourself. The fear of not believing in yourself. For instance, tonight we've looked through some of the traits of an entrepreneur. Even though you can almost tick each one of them as a character trait that you possess, but somewhere on the inside, you just feel, no, it's not for me. No. Maybe it's my brother, but not for me. The fear of not believing in yourself. You ask a question, who am I to think like this? What do I have? What can I give? What do I possess for me to even be dreaming and thinking at this level? After all, nobody in my family has ever done this before. And on and on and on and on and on and on, the reasons will go. The excuse will grow. And people will say, the solution to overcome this fear is simple. Start by setting small goals for yourself and see them accomplished. When you set small goals for yourself and they are accomplished, they are fulfilled, it boosts your confidence level. You need to learn to set small goals. What do I mean by that? Give yourself a task to say, okay, for instance, make it into almost a game, into almost a show. It could be as simple as things like, okay, for the next 1 hour, I'm not going to check my email. For the next 1 hour, I'm not going to look at my WhatsApp. Throughout today, I'm not going to log on to my Facebook. And then as you achieve those little things, you are building the bricks that will boost your confidence level to let you know that you have what it takes, that you can actually do it. That self-belief will start to rise up on the inside of you as you accomplish those small goals. Like saying, I'm not going home tonight until I finish this report. Like saying, no, I am going to make that phone call, even though I am shaking and trembling about it. And you go ahead and do it. Those small, small goals, they will come together to raise up your self-belief and your confidence level. And before you know it, you're making bigger and greater decisions. Ufoma and Igor, thank you for joining us. The number 2 fear that stops people from stepping out as an entrepreneur is the thinking that you need a product before you can sell it. The thinking that, oh, I don't have what to sell. I need to make a product first. I need to do this. I need to do that. Yes, you need all of that. Yes, that is very important. But do you know that it is not every entrepreneur that has to invent or produce something new? You don't have to invent something or produce something new to be an entrepreneur. There are other ways of being an entrepreneur. For instance, you can provide a kind of service as an entrepreneur. You can improve on an existing product as an entrepreneur. You can repackage an existing service as an entrepreneur. You can offer advice or consultancy to even people who are already in the business as an entrepreneur. So really, what am I saying? I'm saying you don't need to go and create something that has never been for you to be qualified as an entrepreneur. You remember when we were looking at the traits of an entrepreneur, we mentioned one of them was an entrepreneur is somebody who will spot a hole in the system, in the market, and will not just look at it and walk away, but will plug the hole, do something to make it change. An entrepreneur is somebody that will not settle for the status quo. It's always asking, how can we do this better? How can we make this good? How can we improve on this? You don't need to create a new product to be an entrepreneur. There are other ways, there are other things that you can do for you to be an entrepreneur. You can also use something like a bootcamp model or pre-sell something. Some people, for instance, I know of Pastor Sunday Adelaja, before his books are released, they are pre-sold. They say this book is coming out on so day, pre-order it. And people will pre-order it. Before the book is even published, before it's released into the market, it's already number 1 on Amazon because they are already selling before the product itself is made available. Another example is the case of drop shipping, where you are buying and you are selling a product without physically, manually handling that product. These are another way that you can operate as an entrepreneur to overcome the fear of, well, I can't really be an entrepreneur. I can't sell anything because I don't have the product yet. No, you can do all of this to overcome that fear. Fear number 3. The fear of, oh, it's not perfect yet. Oh, I need it to be perfect. I need everything to be symmetrical. I'm not advocating that you do a shabby job and do a lousy work. That's not what I'm saying. But if for instance, some people say, oh, I can't start here because my logo is not, the shape is not perfect yet. Or the font that I want on my website. Now, there's nothing wrong in having a great logo and an excellent font. But don't let that handicap you. Don't let that stop you from going ahead and start your business. The truth of the matter is, most of the people that are going to trade with you, they can't even tell the difference between whether your logo is sitting well or not, whether the font is stylish or not. That's not their issue. What they are interested in Can you deliver? Do you have the integrity? Can we count on you to deliver? Once you're able to tick those boxes, hey, guess what? Presto, you're in business. So don't get boggled down and get tied up and the logo is not straight or the font is not. Please get over it. Get over it. Sorry, I got carried away. Sorry. Get things done. Be a person who finishes even if it's not yet perfect. Get on with it. Don't wait till when everything is symmetrical line and every geometrical and every quadratical. Please, you're wasting time. You're losing your market opportunity. Another entrepreneur is going to come and take that market away from you while you are still trying to get your logo to look the part. Fear number 4 is the issue of, I know I need to do this. I would like to do this. I just don't have the capital to start. The truth is there's so many things you can do these days without the capital, without having the physical capital. Have you heard of network? Have you heard of being creative? I said earlier on that one of the characteristics, one of the traits of an entrepreneur is that they don't need to have all the resources to start. They are just very good at being resourceful with whatever they have. Yes, you need capital to start, but you can't allow that to tie you down, bog you down, because there are other ways by which you can raise this capital. Thank you, Deborah. I know Luakwa Norfolk. I appreciate you. Thank you. Deborah said, sir, that is excellent. It feels like you just said everything that has stopped me from moving. God bless you, Deborah. And I'm saying you have what it takes. You have the gift of God. The Spirit of God lives and abide in you. You have the acumen. You have the strength. You have the idea. Go for it. Go for your goal. Don't let anything hold you back. You will look back 2 years down the line. You will ask yourself, are you serious? Was that what was holding me back? Because you will look at how far you've gone with that same issue still there, and yet you've walked out of it. You've moved on from it. So the issue of capital, I don't have the money to start. Yes, there is need for capital to start. But you know that many entrepreneurs started with next to nothing. And yet they built everything with hustle, with relationship, with audience, with sweat equity, with networking, with leveraging. Get creative. Start thinking like an entrepreneur. You don't have to have all the resources. Just be resourceful with what you have. And in this day and age, there are so many ways by which you can raise capital for your project, for your business, for your venture. The important thing is this. Make sure your product is good. Make sure that it's a product that has a demand. There is a demand, there is a need in the market that product can solve and meet. And on top of that, have a good pitch to go with it, to sell your ideas. People are out there waiting, looking for good businesses and ventures and ideas to invest money in. Crowdfunding. Angels and capital investors, or whatever they call, venture capitalists. There are so many of them. The old bank manager is still there. If the business is good and the pitch is excellent, you can raise the capital if you really need to, if you really want to go down that road. So get over that issue. Adekombi Adegbenro, thank you for joining us. Fear number 5. People say, I can't start that because I don't have the knowledge and I don't have the experience to get started. I don't have the knowledge. I don't even know where to start. Really? In this day and age? In this day and age where you can, look, don't limit yourself by any college education or qualification. Don't let that become a yoke. Don't let it become a shackle around your ankle. Don't let the title or the letters after your name, don't let that hold you back. I don't have the experience. I don't have the knowledge. Have you heard of Google? Have you heard of YouTube? Virtually there is nothing rather that you want to know, you want to learn, you want to study that you cannot find either on Google or on YouTube. So whatever knowledge that you lack, whatever experience you don't have, there is somebody that has been through that same route and they have documented their experience and their method. All you have to do is to go and find it. If you look for it, you will find it. The Bible says, if you knock, the door will be open. If you ask, it will be given to you. If you seek, you will find. Make Google and YouTube your best friend. There are so many ways you can learn. You can even find a mentor. In the course of you looking, you will bump into somebody who has all the knowledge and the experience and is just looking for an avenue to exhibit it, to let it go out of his system, to pour it into somebody, to help somebody with it. Before you know it, you find a mentor who will say, okay, I'll work with you on that. And boom, you are rolling. You are rolling. There are so many online courses that are free that you can enroll in. Whatever you think you're lacking, go get it. They're there. They are there. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you an entrepreneur? Do you have what it takes to be called an entrepreneur? Having gone through these traits and these things that we've talked about tonight, have you identified yourself? Have you located yourself? Have you found your own phone number? Have you identified the fact that there is more to you than that 9-to-5 job? There is more to you than sitting down in a corner just for the sake of what you call comfort, when the whole world is groaning and waiting for the manifestation of who you are as a true son and a true daughter of God. You see, I have a training program called Ability to Succeed, and one of the things we look at is the fact that no human being is created without a purpose, without a reason. And through Ability to Succeed, will help you locate that, find it, grow it, develop it, polish it, package it, then release it to bless humanity. And the moment you do that, the first thing that will happen to you is you feel fulfilled. There is a sense of joy and fulfillment that will come up in you. But more than that, because you have been a blessing to the world has a way of reciprocating by returning abundance of wealth to you. But it starts with you identifying what is your purpose, what is the reason you are here on earth. So tonight, we've looked at who is an entrepreneur. What are some of the characteristics or traits that will identify you as an entrepreneur? We've looked at what are those 5 things you need to sacrifice for you to be a successful entrepreneur. And finally, we looked at 5 fears that's holding people back from launching out and pursuing their dream as entrepreneur. Have you found yourself? Have you located yourself? What's the task for this week? It's simple. Go over these traits these characteristics that we've talked about and try to identify how many of these relate to me. Is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 4? How many of them? Once you've identified those ones, then sit down and drill them down and buckle up with them and spend time on them and milk them for all their worth, so that in the process of doing that, the real you can come forth and you can then manifest the reason and the purpose for which God created you and sent you to this planet called Earth. Good news, good news, good news. Good news, good news, good news. Today, I am making this announcement. It has now been confirmed that throughout the month of June, Dr. Daniel Imoideme will be on this platform. I cannot wait. Woo-hoo! Dr. Imoideme is going to be here on this platform throughout the month of June. If you were with us when he was with us in the 3rd week of April, wow, what a show we had. He was a knocker. He's a consultant. He's a gynecologist and obstetrician consultant with over 40 years experience, especially in reproductive medicine. And we started in April by just looking at the male side of reproductive medicine. He's now coming back throughout the 5 Thursdays in June. He's going to be on this program every Thursday. Woo! I can't wait. And listen to this. The 1st of June, which is a Thursday, which is next week Thursday, he's going to start by looking at reproductive medicine in the female. So ladies, you've been asking for it. You've been pestering me for it. You've accused me of being partial. Here we go. Dr. Imoideme is coming. So what do you have to do? Let's talk about it. Let's make a big noise, a big sound, a big shout about it. Tell your friends. Send them the link from the last one if you have it. Whatever it is, let's get the word on the street. Let's get people to know. It is such a big privilege, ladies and gentlemen, for us to have Dr. Imoideme for a whole month. Wow! A whole month. He's going to be here with us. We're going to look at everything as much as possible as far as reproductive medicine is concerned, the causes of fertility and infertility, the prevention, the treatment. If treatment fails, what do we do next? Everything. He's leaving no stone unturned. I can't wait. I really cannot wait. Now, part of what he would like to do is to have a PowerPoint presentation to go along with the program. In order for us to do that, I am going to have to change my Facebook account from being a personal account to become like a community or a business account, because that is when we'll have the facility to incorporate the PowerPoint presentation into the Facebook Live platform. So at some point this week, you will get notification from me to say, like my page. I have not gone anywhere. It is still same Tunde Disu. It is still the same platform of Become a Better Man. But it is in order for us to have the ability to incorporate PowerPoint presentation into our live program. So please be on the lookout, and also the flyers, the banner will be coming out shortly. Let's go and spread it. You share it on every of your social media handles and talk to people about it in the church, at school, in the college, university, your work colleagues, your friends, your neighbor. tell them about it, you could just be saving a life. You could just be the connection to the answer to somebody's long time prayer. Somebody might just get something that will make the difference in their lives, in their marriage, in their homes, in their business, in whatever area, just because you tell them about these 5 weeks programs that we're going to have with Dr. Imoideme. I can't wait. I really cannot wait. So, I'm leaving it in your hands. You've asked for it. I'm delivering it. Let's go and make it worth his time and his effort. You can see I'm excited. So let me hold myself till next week. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I apologize for starting late. I had to do some parental duties. I took my daughter to prom tonight, and on my way back, I got lost and couldn't find my way home on time. I'm sorry about that. And it's going to be a great week. This weekend is going to be great. But more than that, I can't wait till next week, Thursday, with Dr. Daniel Imoideme on this platform. And until then, this is Tunde Disu once again saying, we are not stopping. We refuse to stop. We refuse to pack it into cave in. We refuse to be distracted and discouraged, because the destination that we have in mind is to become better men and better women. Until next week, I love you. God bless you. Bye-bye.